Chapter 3: The Illusion of Safety, Limits versus Reality. For more than 2 decades, I have worked across the full spectrum of fire safety. I began by walking the endless corridors of Soviet-era prefabricated housing blocks, learning the discipline of inspections. Later, I consulted on the demanding safety requirements of Canadian nuclear plants. My career also took me deep into underground mining operations, where I designed ventilation and evacuation systems, and high above ground in modern towers, testing alarms, sprinklers, and smoke control. Along the way, I investigated fires, trained responders, and advised regulators, always carrying lessons forward. One truth has followed me everywhere. Safety is not what the code says. Safety is what reality allows. Yet too often, professionals, owners, and regulators confuse limits written in a codebook with real protection when fire breaks out. A limit feels comforting, but it is rarely the same as true safety. The comfort of limits, codes are written in numbers. Stairs must be at least 1.1 meters wide. The maximum traveled distance to an exit is 30 meters. Fire separations must resist fire for 45 or 60 minutes. Numbers like these are measurable and enforceable. An architect can draw them, an inspector can verify them, and an authority can approve them. They create the illusion of certainty. But a number is not a guarantee. A 45-minute fire separation does not promise survival for 45 minutes in every fire. It means only that the wall lasted that long under specific test conditions. A 30-meter travel distance does not mean everyone will reach safety in time. It means that, in a model, most people could under assumptions. Numbers are reassuring because they make safety look absolute. But the danger is that they make us forget about reality. Stories from practice, the mine. I once worked in an underground mining company. On paper, everything looked perfect. Exits were within limits, ventilation complied with the code, and the emergency plan was updated daily. Each worker signed the plan at the start of their shift. If you looked at the documents alone, you would think this mine was one of the safest in the world. The reality underground was very different. The mine was a closed system of tunnels, changing every day. Exits that were clear yesterday were blocked today by heavy equipment. Ventilation fans sometimes reversed, carrying smoke deeper instead of pushing it out. Workers signed the emergency plan without reading it. It was compliance without understanding. Then came a fire. An electrical fault in the medical building filled the tunnels with smoke. Drills had been predictable, clean, and scheduled. But in the real emergency, chaos reigned. The plan estimated evacuation would take 40 minutes. In reality, it took 70, twice as long. People were disoriented, air turned toxic, and routes were blocked. The signed papers proved useless because they had never been lived. That fire taught me a lesson I will never forget. Codes, plans, and signatures can create an illusion of safety, but fire does not care about illusions. Hospitals are among the most complex buildings to protect. On paper, this one seemed flawless. The plans showed wide corridors, fire-rated doors, multiple exits, and compartmentalization. The evacuation strategy was thorough, and each shift began with staff signing off on their understanding. But hospitals, like mines, do not live on paper. Corridors were narrowed by wheelchairs and portable equipment. Fire doors meant to hold smoke back were propped open for convenience. The ventilation system, designed for infection control, also allowed smoke to spread rapidly. Then came a real incident, a small electrical fault in a recovery unit. Within minutes, smoke seeped into nearby wards. Drills had not prepared staff for patients unable to walk, alarms competing with medical equipment, or elevators locked out. Panic spread faster than training. The plan predicted evacuation in 40 minutes. The reality stretched past 70. Patients were stranded, communication failed, and the illusion of safety collapsed. Both the mine and the hospital proved the same truth. Fire is not a diagram. It is a process. And unless people are ready to live that process, signatures and codes mean nothing. Codes around the world, different codes reveal different philosophies. In North America, most codes, like the International Building Code in the US or the National Building Code of Canada, are prescriptive. They define travel distances, stair widths, and fire ratings. Meeting the numbers means compliance. But in practice, good engineers push further. They use egress modeling, apply NFPA standards beyond local requirements, borrow lessons from aviation and nuclear industries, and rely on judgment to fill the gaps. Compliance is only a starting line, never the finish. In Australia, the building code offers to paths prescriptive deemed to satisfy rules and flexible performance solutions. The latter allows engineers to prove safety outcomes through modeling, calculation, or real drills. This approach recognizes that unusual structures, airports, atriums, curved towers, cannot fit into rigid tables. In the Soviet Union, uniformity ruled. Prefabricated housing blocks had standardized layouts, making prescriptive codes easy to apply. But they also tested real buildings by burning full-scale prototypes and firefighters trained in identical layouts. The system was rigid but consistent, codes matched reality, and responders knew what to expect. Today, the challenge is different. Modern buildings are unique, complex, and experimental. A one-size-fits-all table cannot capture this diversity. Consider Lilignan in Geneva, where over 6,000 residents live in one complex, essentially a vertical city. Without process-based evacuation and rescue planning, such a building could become a modern Titanic. This is why codes must evolve from static prescriptions to dynamic processes. Because systems fail, materials weaken, and survival depends not on paper limits but on real evacuation and rescue. Retrofits and aging illusions, upgrading an old building with new alarms, sprinklers, or smoke fans does not make it safe by default. The structure itself ages. Steel loses strength, concrete cracks, seals leak, fire doors warp. It is like installing a new engine in a rusted car. The car may look modern, but the frame remains unsafe. Selling it as like new would be illegal in most countries. Yet in real estate, this is common practice. For older buildings, safety rules should be stricter, not looser. Retrofitting without reassessing the bones of the structure creates yet another illusion of safety. Buildings as machines, buildings today are no longer static structures. They are machines, intelligent systems of sensors, smoke control, alarms, power storage, and AI-driven evacuation tools. These technologies can save lives or kill. A working smoke control system keeps corridors clear. A malfunctioning one fills them with smoke. Backup batteries can provide power or ignite. This is why all systems must be tested together as one organism with the building. Fire alarms, sprinklers, smoke fans, elevators, power systems, they must be proven to work in unison under stress. Aviation treats planes this way. Buildings should be treated no less seriously. Breaking the illusion, how do we move beyond the illusion of safety? Accept that compliance is only the floor, never the ceiling. Shift from limits to processes, from static numbers to lived evacuation outcomes. Verify continuously with unscheduled drills and sensor feedback. Respect aging, evaluate structures, not just systems. Think in life cycles. If old cars can't be sold as new, neither should old towers. Use AI for real-time, global code analysis, closing gaps before lives are lost. The philosophy of safety. At its core, safety is controlled risk, not eliminated danger. Philosophy asks, what is real? What is assumed? What is good enough? And who bears responsibility when assumptions fail? Prescriptive codes comfort us with numbers. Process-based codes confront us with life. And that is the only place safety truly belongs, not in the building itself, but in the people it must protect. Closing reflection. The next time someone says, "Don't worry, the building is up to code," pause. Remember, codes change every few years. Buildings age every single day. Retrofits can help, but they cannot erase weak foundations. The illusion of safety feels reassuring, but only reality protects lives. Buildings are machines, living systems, and must be tested as such. And ask yourself, honestly, when was the last time you didn't just read your building's escape plan, but actually walked the route, step by step?